What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Arsenal 2, Manchester United 1. The first game on the US part of pre-season. The pre-season tour ends in defeat, kind of, for Manchester United. I say kind of because we won the penalty shootout, which basically means we won the league, right? Yes, we're doing penalty shootouts at the end of the game regardless of results because it just goes to show how much the game itself really does matter. We do this, don't we? We do this every single time there's a defeat in pre-season. We go crazy. The end of the world, Chicken Little. I don't know if you've heard recently, the sky's falling. But it's a game that has to be broken down into two halves because, as always, with Manchester United in pre-season under Erik ten Hag, it's two separate teams. So the first half, Man United actually started off the game really brightly, played some nice stuff, really energetic. We're unfortunate not to score with Ahmad. Ball pulled back. It was actually really good play down the left-hand side from Amas. Gave it to Rashford through the legs. Mason Mount pulls it back. Ahmad kind of doesn't really connect with the ball properly. Keeper makes a save. But then after that, Manchester United go 1-0 up. Rasmus Hojlund just really bullies the centre-back with power and pace. Puts the ball through the keeper's legs. And United 1-0 up. And it's actually looking pretty good at that point. And then we realised something, didn't we, folks? Then we realised we're cursed. We're cursed. The injury curse, I don't know what we did in the past life. I think dig up Old Trafford, check if there's any more hyenas lying around. I don't know. Because Rasmus Hojlund then a few minutes later goes down after an attack where, again, we look quite promising. Wan-Bissaka down the right-hand side, cuts it across goal. And Hojlund kind of went with his wrong foot. It was a bit awkward. And then he gets up and I think he says, my hamstring. I don't know if it's precaution. I hope it's precaution. Even if it is, means most likely he's probably not going to play again on the tour, which is quite unfortunate because we've only got 2 more games left in the space of 7 days. And if it is a hamstring, you want to be really careful with those. So that really sucks. And again, that's really unfortunate. And then the misfortune continues. Yoro goes off. He looked in, to be honest with you, more discomfort than Hojlund did. I don't know the nature of the injury. There'd been some discussion maybe it was an ankle injury or something like that. It might have again been precaution. Had been rumours, hadn't there, about a possible injury in training prior to the game. So we just don't know. And really, park the result to one side and what have you, because we won this game last year. What did it mean for our season? Nothing. We were shit in the season. Arsenal finished second. It doesn't have a major bearing on it. The biggest takeaways from this game is, let's hope that Hojlund and Yoro aren't actually that badly injured and they're fine. It was just completely precautionary. That's the biggest takeaway, really. In terms of positives from the first half, you would say that I think Amas looked really, really tidy at left back. Really good feet. Good link-up play with Rashford. So I think he was positive. Collier started alongside Casemiro, and I think he actually looked quite settled, quite composed in the midfield alongside Casemiro, who was the captain today. Mason Mount looked really bright, really lively, really aggressive, actually. Had a couple of coming together with a couple of the Arsenal players who were... It was funny because Arteta was complaining about United players being overly aggressive and kicking his players, but Arsenal were just doing the same thing. There was plenty of bad tackles from them, one from Jorginho, one from Partey in the second half. So it's just Mikel Arteta being Mikel Arteta with regards to that. Whilst Hojlund was on, he looked lively, but then he got injured and he got replaced by Hannibal. Ahmad, I think he'd be disappointed he didn't score when he had the opportunity before the Hojlund goal. Apart from that, it was a little bit quiet. But in terms of the first half, it was pretty even, really. 1-1. Their goal, by the way, it's offside. I mean, there's a couple of things I forgot about going into this pre-season tour of the USA from last year. One, if we get a negative result, that is it. Like, it is over. We are screwed. We're going to get relegated. Nothing's changing. And two, the standard of officiating in the United States actually rivals our standard of officiating in the Premier League. It's not very good at all. I mean, the guesswork for both teams, in fairness, it was equally as bad for both. But the guesswork that goes on when it comes to the officiating with offsides that weren't offside or giving goals that were offside in the case of Arsenal's equaliser for Gabriel Jesus. He's offside, I think, twice when it comes to that goal. And just not giving fouls. it was just not good, was it? It was not good officiating at all. And I had forgotten about that because that was from last year too. The officiating hasn't got any better in the last 12 months. So that was the first half. And then the second half, it's really what I expected. I mean, when you've got a second half team that's got a back four of Scanlon, who's not even a right back, he's more of a winger. He's playing up right back. You've got a centre-back pairing of Fish and Johnny Evans, and Murray playing up full back. You know, you're going to be under the cosh, aren't you? When you've got a midfield two of Oyedele, who I do think's got a bit of potential, but he's playing alongside Ericsson. It's hardly United's best midfield, is it? And then you had some of the more senior players that were on. Anthony, who I thought had a really poor second half, actually. He was really wasteful at points. McTominay, who I think kind of just ghosted through the game, didn't do all that much. Jadon Sancho, I did feel quite bad for him, actually, in the second half, because I felt like he was trying to get stuff going, but nothing came down the left-hand side. When he did pick up the ball a couple of times, he did look a bit lively, a bit bright. But again, largely not that really involved. And Wheatley the same, the young guy up front. Arsenal didn't I think they made 2 changes at half time, but largely their team's intact from the first half, so they're going to dominate possession, dominate the ball. It's exactly what happened last year, by the way. We changed the whole team at half time. They didn't. They got on top in the second half, but by that point we were 2-0 up, so it didn't really matter. This time it was 1-1. Our second half team was even weaker than it was last year because of the absences. So it shouldn't be a shock that Arsenal dominated possession, and we're not seeing patterns of play from Manchester United. Well, that team, you're never going to see that. It's really an exercise of, are any of those youngsters good enough? And it's if you're a senior player like your Ericsson, Anthony, McTominay, Sancho, and you're in that second half team, it probably says a lot about their more immediate future at Manchester United than anything. It says, hey, they're looking for offers. They're listening for offers. Ericsson's got a year left on his contract. They're listening for offers. McTominay, we know that Man United are listening for offers. Sancho's been linked to PSG and Juventus. Anthony, I think if Man United could get an interested party, they'd be all over it. So it's not that much of a surprise. It's more really confirmation of really what they already know. So once again, it's not, I don't think anyway, a thing to freak out from. Not to say that the performances aren't important or anything like that, or not to say you're happy you lost, because you're not. You want to win every game, and Erik ten Hag certainly cut a frustrated figure at points in the second half with some of the lack of quality on show. That was definitely there. But in terms of the impact and the bearing on the season, it's not got really all that much, does it? Frankly, I think Arsenal fans, can't speak for them, I'm not one, but I think if they hadn't won that second half, they'd probably be asking questions saying, what's going on there? As mentioned, Scanlon, I actually felt a bit bad for him. He got turned inside out by Martinelli a couple of times prior to the goal, and then for the goal, gets just actually glided past. Fish should probably do better, help out his fullback, considering he's not actually a fullback, and they score. So that was really the game, in all honesty. Penalty shootout afterwards, because I still don't know why, but, you know, why not? And Man United won. So basically, we won the whole game, basically. And if that sounds like a ludicrous statement, it's because it's a friendly, and everything's kind of ludicrous anyway. So there you go. But some things to look out for Erik ten Hag, some promising signs, maybe some. The biggest thing is the injuries. Again, we're cursed at this point. I mean, if anyone knows some kind of person that deals with hexes, or do I need to bring Sage and like for the next game? If that's what needs to be, then let's do it. I've insisted on Flex wearing gloves and no more songs, KG. You're killing us. So yeah, that's it. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed, as mentioned, the injuries aren't too bad. But it's funny because in the press conference, that's all they would talk about is the injuries, and they're still here. But anyway, guys, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Hopefully, no more injuries.